Hello and welcome back. Let's talk about password protection. There are two ways to look at this. Number one, you'll need a strong password and a username that is not admin. Okay, so let me give you an example and we'll talk about other ways to protect your password. Okay, so most people, when they create their WordPress website and they create the username and their password, they use admin for the username. And that's a no-no because a lot of brute force bots will use admin as the username. You might be thinking, well, they don't necessarily know my password. Why does it make a difference? The difference is because once they know your username, they have one less thing to figure out. But if they don't know your username, they can't figure out your username, they can't figure out your password, then that's a problem. So we don't recommend admin. In addition to that, if your domain is, let's say, for example, yourdomain.com, you don't want your username to be your domain. So without the www. And then without the .com. So in other words, your domain. You don't want that as your username because we have seen bots evolve and begin to get smart, and they know that you're not going to use admin. So you're probably going to use your domain. You're probably going to also use your name. So they're going to try to gather tons of data about you and use that as your username. So the next thing would be your name. Your first name they'll try, the last name they'll try, and they'll try your first name and last name together. And of course, it's going to evolve. So your username you want to figure out may not necessarily relate to you, but maybe something random. And then of course, your password, you're going to want it to be very, very strong. By that I mean you don't want it to be your birth date. You don't want it to be your dog's name. You don't want it to be something that is relatable to you. You want it to be something very complex. So let me give you an example of this. Typically with a very strong password, you want to use numbers. You want to use capital letters. So you could do something like this. Put a bunch of numbers and then lowercase numbers, and then you're going to want to put some characters. So characters, we're going to put shift. These are the characters. So those are characters. So the bot is going to try for the password different things, different numbers, different variations, different combinations. So you want to make sure that it's very complex. Now, bear in mind, you're not going to remember this very strong password. So what do? Do you write it down on a piece of paper, or can you use maybe a password manager? Password managers are actually what we're going to talk about next. There are two that we actually recommend. The first one is LastPass. So lastpass.com. For personal use, it's actually free. And you don't have to pay anything, but you can also upgrade to the premium. The reason why LastPass is very secure is in order to get access to your account, you have to log in with your master password. Now, if you're utilizing the Chrome extension, the mobile app, or anything, you have to have that master password. Now, what's interesting is you cannot retrieve that master password from the site. So if you ever were to forget what that master password is, then you may as well say goodbye to all of your logins. So what I recommend that you do, because this has actually happened before, is to put LastPass on your mobile phone, all of your computers, your laptop, your computers, everything. And that way you keep it backup. Because if you were to ever forget the master password on your computer, for example, you can still log into it via your smartphone or your other computer. So that's the big difference with LastPass and other password managers. Now, LastPass is very secure, especially when you buy the premium version. It's extremely secure. Now, what's nice about LastPass is it will analyze your passwords and it'll actually tell you if your passwords are weak. And it will tell you a lot of things. So you can actually store a lot of private information such as bank cards, bank accounts, driver's license, passwords, passports, and more. So it's not just passwords alone. Now, when it comes to passwords, there's another service called RoboForm. RoboForm does cost money. However, based on our experience, RoboForm has been very, very well. Just like LastPass, you can install this on all of your computers, on all of your smartphones, and it's very, very easy to use. Now, you might be asking, well, what's the difference between RoboForm and LastPass? To be frank and honest, both of them are very, very similar, except, like I said, LastPass focuses on other things, other private information. So I recommend just go ahead and pick one of these, LastPass or RoboForm. Either one is good because we've actually tested them out, and that's it.